In 2002, thousands of black security officers guarded Los Angeles' most prestigious buildings. Nearly 70% were African American, working in isolation and under constant harassment while securing the economic engine of Los Angeles. The Service Employees International Union began organizing to bring these workers into a union, but they faced a challenge. The union needed to rebuild trust with the black community, still hurt by the loss of union janitorial jobs in previous decades. This series of interviews gives some insight into the monumental task of getting the union recognized.
My name is Pastor K.W. Tulloss, pastor of the Weller Street Missionary Baptist Church, also president of the Baptist Ministers Conference of Los Angeles and Southern California.
What convinced you to get involved in this labor campaign?
Well, a few years ago, two of my mentors, the Reverend Eric Peter Lee, who was president of SCLC, and my big brother, Pastor Lewis Logan, who was an activist in himself, pastor of the Bethel AME Church here in Los Angeles. They invited me to be a part of this historic campaign that was forming in Los Angeles, a campaign centered around security guards. They came to me and they asked me to be a part of this campaign because they needed community support. And they knew of the work that I was doing with the National Action Network and other areas. And they asked me to come on board and help inspire these workers in this campaign effort.
What strategies did you use to build support among other clergy?
Well, let me say this. Building support amongst clergy somewhat can be a difficult thing, but understanding the plight of the security workers and how they needed moral support, how they needed the presence of leaders, how they needed us to stand with them in their efforts to organize this historic union was something that many clergy was able to jump and be a part of. It actually solidified my efforts and my skills in organizing the clergy.
How did you see this fitting into SCLC's mission?
Well, again, SCLC was Dr. King organization. It was an organization that I admired. I always admired the work of King. I never really understood the coalition between the clergy and labor, but this allowed me firsthand to really see the importance of the community and labor and clergy coming before us. I'm grateful that SCLC took lead in organizing and invited this young activist to be a part.
How did you balance your roles as a religious leader and labor advocate?
It was very simple. It was very easy. Once, basically, faith without works is dead. And I believe that if you're going to talk about helping, you got to be about helping. And being there to step up and, again, providing the support for the security workers, for the organizers, and an effort to really solidify this union was a real easy choice to make. Ultimately, I believe that this campaign really opened the life up to so many other wonderful things here in Los Angeles.
What would you say you learned from the civil rights movement that informed your approach to this campaign?
Well, one of the main things that I learned is the importance of us organizing together, building a solid coalition. Here we had security workers, we had community leaders, we had clergy. Never before have I seen a time of what Organizing 101 was all about. I learned right then and there the importance of all of us coming together for a great cause. And because we came together for that great cause, we got what we needed.
How did you approach any initial skepticism about SEIU in the black community?
Well, the reality is, this was actually my first SEIU campaign. Only, working with labor was not something that I really had experience in doing. But this ultimately opened up the floodgates for me to continue to strive and to show my support through my activism, because they was representing workers that looked like me and you. And ultimately, I believe it's because of this campaign that many of the other actions, from Fight for 15, the other movements from Kaiser to Longshoremen to whoever else we stepped foot and assisted, these campaigns was birthed out of this movement.
What strategies did you use to maintain pressure on groups like building owners?
Well, one of the main actions that we used was an act of civil disobedience. That was the first time I saw clergy go to jail for a specific cause. And we showed up. We was present. We was at the high rises in downtown, the high rises in Beverly Hills. We was there. We was showing them that we wasn't going anywhere. And these workers who was frontline workers who needed our support and our assistance, we was saying to those business owners, those landlords, that they deserve the best. And when they saw the community and the workers coming together, that we would never be defeated.
What impact did this campaign have on your congregation?
Well, ultimately, I can say that many of the individuals in my campaign, many of the individuals in my congregation was inspired by the work of this movement, because we was helping Black and brown individuals in the security to really solidify their firm stance for a union. It kind of helped educate the importance of community engaging and being there for our workers. And I'm grateful because, again, it helped solidify me in my career. This was my very first campaign that I worked on with labor. And through that, ultimately, we see the results.
What motivated your church to become a hub for the campaign?
Well, ultimately, what motivated my church at that particular time was my desire to do more for the community. My church is a church where everybody is somebody. We go over and beyond to help whoever we need to be helped. And when I was asked to help through this campaign, through Reverend Lee, through Pastor Logan, these was trusted partners. And so ultimately their friends became our friends. And ultimately my work in the civil rights movement began to go over and beyond because of the importance of working for people, because we are a people-driven church.
Did you have any closing thoughts?
Let me say that this campaign was a historic effort. I'm grateful because not only did this campaign connect clergy and labor, and it also connected the organization, SCLC, us, the Cultural Center, National Action Network. All of these organizations began to formulate and work together for the greater good of these workers. And now we see a greater partnership and relationships amongst many of our community organizations because of this campaign. And together, united, we'll never be defeated.
OASC proudly recognizes a fraction of those responsible for the success of the SEIU Black Security Officers Unionization campaign in Los Angeles, a landmark example of how labor organizing can be a tool for racial and economic justice. It not only transformed the lives of thousands of Black security officers, but also reshaped the labor movement's approach to addressing systemic inequality. Its impact continues to inspire campaigns that prioritize equity, dignity, and the empowerment of underrepresented workers.